Right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the cyber universe. My name, I give it to you in Irish first, is Undoctor Brian Shvartin English Viralisha Kuri Lu Macainaira. My name is Dr. Brian George Martin McEnery, and I am calling to you from Ireland, from Tralee in Ireland. And I was listening to a bit of the news last night, and it is disconcerting. And I said, now people need to understand a new direction in what is happening in the world. And I said to myself this morning, after a good night's rest, what should Ireland's response be to the latest escalation in tension? It's not tension, it's war in the Middle East. And we can say this person is right, that person is wrong, this person is wrong, that person is right. But that is absolutely no good. It is time for Ireland to stand up and to be counted. Ireland has a unique position in the world at the moment, which is that, as far as I know, we are the only neutral nation in the European Union. We are not a member of NATO, although they're trying to get us in through the back door using what is called the Partnership for Peace. There is an attempt to create a European army, and they want Ireland to become involved with that. And Ireland has to resist those attempts, because exacerbating war is not the way towards peace. I don't know what sort of leadership is going on in the world at the moment, but they are not peace creators, they are warmongers. And it's time that we realize that. Now we have an attempt by America to involve the G7 nations in this situation in the Middle East. And that would, of course, involve the European Union, because the European Union is a member of G7. And unfortunately, America is not to be trusted. And it's time that we woke up. Look at what has gone on in Gaza. Look at the destruction which has been facilitated by Joe Biden and, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu. Ireland has eventually stood up to this, and even recently I saw the comments by the Israeli ambassador, which were far from helpful. And why she's being facilitated by our media, I have yet to understand why she's being facilitated so much. And yet those who want to talk of peace, their voices are being silenced. Now, what I want Ireland to do are two things. I call this active neutrality and active neutrality. I want them to investigate or facilitate the investigation of the technology of consciousness. They have known about this for the past 40 years. They have known about it directly from me for more than 30 years. But yet, the Irish government have yet to do anything. The Irish government have come under so much pressure, so much influence from foreign agents operating in this country, that they don't know where to look. All they need to do, is to look at Article 1 of the Irish Constitution, wherein it is a requirement of our government to act as a sovereign nation. We never gave that up when they signed I never know whether it's the Nice Treaty or the Lisbon Treaty, but the European Constitution, which was forced in this country. Oh, the Irish will accept it, and so on, by various politicians who clung on to power well past their sell-by date. So it is time for us to call on the other nations, or at least lead the way as a leading neutral nation of Europe, fine, I know Switzerland are a neutral nation, but they're outside the EU, even though they're being encroached on by the European Union. And Ireland have a duty to its people, and it has a duty to the people of the world to stand up and be counted and say, yes, we will support the investigation of the technology of consciousness in terms of the creation of peace. Look at the research. They were all on about looking at the research during the COVID crisis, but unfortunately you have since stymied, and you will not look at the research which has conducted over 40 years or thereabouts. And the most recent example is that conducted in Hyderabad in India, where they gathered together 10,000 people to see if they could effect peace in the world. Fine, it hasn't been successful, but what has been successful is that the notion has been established. Ireland needs to establish active neutrality. You've already received briefing documents from me in terms of active neutrality. I will send it again just in case you want to read it again. Active neutrality means the implementation of a policy of creating peace, of reducing tension during a time of crisis. That is what active neutrality means. Passive neutrality means not becoming involved in conflict. And we are selling our soul in terms of passive neutrality with the usage of Shannon. That should be rescinded immediately, because the Americans are going to use Shannon, and America, as I say, is not to be trusted. So I'm going to leave it there and wish you all a happy day, and hopefully it will not go on any further.